First Alert Weather Day continues into tonight as dangerously low temperatures bottom out in the teens by morning. Details in your First Alert forecast are coming up.
Now, the biggest issue we're seeing on the roads is some of the sleet last night melted and refroze into straight ice.
A lot of the ice melted with today's sunshine, but patches of black ice are still a dangerous problem on many roadways. We have the latest for you from MDOT on road conditions.
This is the time where we have to boot up, man up, and do our job, and that's the time of being a selfless servant.
The work never stops for first responders who are on the job to keep you safe. You'll hear how they are dealing with freezing cold and dangerous driving conditions. And the winter weather is especially brutal for the homeless. We tell you how many who are left out in the cold are dealing with the ice and freezing temperatures.
WLBT News starts now with a First Alert Weather Day update.
Our First Alert Weather Day continues as the coldest weather of the season is possible overnight. First Alert meteorologist Peyton Garrison joins us now with a look at that forecast. Peyton. Icy conditions are causing problems for drivers all over the state, and that's not expected to change until we break free of below freezing temperatures. 3 on Your Side's Brendan Hall spoke with state and local officials about what's being done to protect those who have to be out on the road.
Mother Nature may have brought us the ice, but she's also bringing us sunlight. And despite the sub-freezing temps, I'm told the sun is what's helping the most with keeping ice off our roads.
The message from state and local leaders has been the same for days now. Don't drive if you don't have to. The reason why is pretty clear, just like the ice on central Mississippi roads.
Now, the biggest issue we're seeing on the roads is some of the sleet last night melted and refroze into straight ice. And that's been a problem, particularly in our hilly areas where two-wheel drive cars are trying to go up and down hills and cannot make it.
Jackson Interim Public Works Director Robert Lee says there isn't a whole lot city crews can do about the icy roads at this point, other than rely on the sun to thaw out as much of it as possible. But on the state level, Department of Transportation crews are adding an extra layer of protection to our interstates.
What they do after the fact is we put down it's a material called mozolite. It's basically a clay-like material that it will deteriorate over time, so our crews don't have to get back out there, and that helps to melt ice. And it also gives more traction on bridges to help assist drivers that are traveling over them.
MDOT Public Information Officer Michael Flood says all central Mississippi roads that the DOT is responsible for are open. There have been sporadic closures when major accidents occur, but Flood says the roads have held up well for the most part.
Of course, in North Mississippi, it's more of a plowing effort as we have a lot of snows on the roads there, as well as the western part of the state, like up in the Delta region. So it's just kind of different in all areas of the state. But here in central Mississippi, yes, we are putting that mozolite clay down in hopes of melting some ice and giving anyone out traveling some traction.
Conditions are expected to worsen as we lose daylight, so it's important to drive carefully or avoid driving at all if possible. Brendan Hall, back to you.
Well, now let's take a look at how conditions are shaping up on the interstate. MDOT is reminding drivers as temperatures fall again tonight that you need to be on the lookout and aware of the strong potential for black ice. Now, black ice is a thin coat of highly transparent ice, so you can't always see it on the roads. You're asked to use extreme caution if you travel, and MDOT also issued a traffic advisory for the US 61, US 84 southbound flyover bridge at Devereaux Road. This is in Adams County. It's closed due to icy conditions until noon Wednesday. Well, if you've never driven on icy roads or similar conditions, knowing how to maneuver can make the difference in staying in your lane or losing control of your car. 3 on Your Side's Nathan Lee brings you some tips to be prepared for the next time.
We're in the storm tracker right now, which is equipped for these freezing conditions, but most of y'all do not have a vehicle like this or have even drove on icy roads. We're going to give you all a look here. As you can see, the roads are improving with this sunlight, but I still spoke with a Mississippi Highway Patrol official to get you some tips on how to manage these conditions in the future.
Extremely cold temperatures have taken over the metro, which left roads dangerous to drive on.
Iced over roads are not very common in Mississippi, which has led to many accidents, according to MHP officer Darnica Mayfield. Mayfield says if you do have to get out, keep these tips in mind.
Just drive slow. You know, if you're coming up to a stop or to a light or a stop sign, start slowing down before you get to that stop. And then like in Vicksburg, we have a lot of hills. And I tell a lot of people, just slow down, ease down the hill, you know, as you travel down there. If you have a doctor appointment or if you have to go to work, some people still have to go to work. If you have to go to work, leave about an hour early.
Nathan Lee, 3 on your side.
Jackson Water giving an update on how operations are going at plants during today's weather. Officials continue to monitor the weather and remain cautiously optimistic despite the freezing conditions. The company encourages you to take steps to protect your pipes. This includes letting a mix of cold and warm water, that is, drip from your faucets, keeping your thermostat above 55 degrees, and keeping cabinet doors open that lead to exposed pipes. You should call a plumbing professional to help or address any damage related to broken or frozen pipes. These icy road conditions are not only impacting you, but your first responders as well. 3 on your side's Holly Emery has details on how they are still working to keep you safe.
While many of you get to work from home or stay out of the cold altogether, first responders like Jackson's police officers have been working to keep you and your family safe during the icy conditions.
The slick and frozen roads across the capital city have created hazardous conditions for drivers and several accidents for firefighters and police officers to respond to. In preparation for the winter storms, Jackson Police switched to an emergency protocol to allow more officers to be available during this time. Deputy Chief of Patrol Marco Johnson says the additional officers not only help you, but them as well.
A lot of stranded motorists. Then you take your accidents and alarm calls. We still have to respond to businesses when they're closed and our normal patrols. During these periods, we kind of go overboard in what we do. That's coming with a backup officer when normally one officer can handle an accident most of the time.
While there are officers who are ready to respond to any issues that you may have, they ask that you stay home and off the road for the time being. In Jackson, Holly Emery, 3 on your side.
Local hospitals and health services here in the metro are also juggling through the icy conditions. The University of Mississippi Medical Center has canceled many of its in-person classes and student activities. However, all hospital-based appointments and operations will remain as scheduled, including those with the Children's Hospital. 4 Central Mississippi Health Services facilities remain closed here in Jackson at this time. The director there says despite the treacherous weather conditions, the safety of employees and patients is top priority.
It hurts that we are not available to render care for people who might need medical attention and just even routine medical services. So that's the first part of it. And again, as I indicated before, we don't want to put our staff, nor do we want to put our patients in harm's way if they try to get to the clinic.
All changes will remain in place until further notice, until the icy road conditions subside. While you're in the comfort of your home during this Arctic plunge, untold hundreds are homeless. As Rosalind Anderson reports, this dangerous cold forced many into shelters, while others risk death on the streets.
Temperatures reached 20 degrees Tuesday while these men huddled for warmth on West Street. The homeless sat atop grates just yards from ice on fountains.
Death. If not death, severe frostbite.
That's what Paul Reed says he would be facing on the streets. The 45-year-old is homeless and has been turning to Gateway Rescue Mission for shelter for over a year and a half. The harsh weather finds more and more looking for a safe, warm place.
Worst case scenario, I would say maybe an abandoned house, or there's been moments where I slept in my car.
Monday night, when temperatures plummeted into the teens, 15 more men sought shelter at Gateway.
Sometimes it's a matter of life and death.
Shelter managers say they are seeing more elderly, mentally ill, and the working poor. Throughout the freeze, unfamiliar faces entered the doors.
They're going to be people that just show up that you've never seen before, that you probably never see again. And that usually will stay outside. You have the human capacity is amazing. You have some people that can stay out in the elements, but once it gets down to the teens, they have to find somewhere to come in.
The chapel is turned into a sleeping area for the extra men seeking shelter from the brutal cold. More cots and blankets are ready for the men who will soon need them.
If they show up at our doors, we're going to let them in.
In Jackson, Rosalind Anderson, 3 on your side.
The city of Jackson has 2 other shelters open. One is Shepherd's Gym and the other is Sykes Gym. Adams County has a shelter in Natchez, Copiah County in Hazelhurst. The Canton Multipurpose Center remains open in Madison County. The River City Rescue Mission is also open in Vicksburg. And in Yazoo County, you can go to 117 West Bridge Street in Yazoo City. You can follow the latest on our First Alert Weather Day coverage, including school districts, that will be closed or virtual tomorrow. Just go to our website at WLBT.com. You can also scan this QR code to download the WLBT 3 on your side app, which will keep you up to date with the latest in weather and news.